Hi there, stampers and crafters. My name is Tami White from stampwithtami.com, and welcome to my online class. Today we are going to be making paper lilies, and we're going to be doing a trellis fun technique fold for a card using the Easter lilies from Stampin Up. Beautiful, beautiful bundle. Perfect for the upcoming Easter, but great for so many other occasions as well. In fact, I think you're going to find in the series that I share at the end of this video all the different ideas that I've done, you're going to be able to use for many different occasions. I thought the timing was good because they would be good for Easter, great for favors, party favors. We're also going to be working with the Stampin' Up! Square Pillowboxes. These are, you can purchase them in a pack. They're really, really cool, little unique shaped boxes that fit quite a bit of stuff. So I'm going to share how to make the trellis card. We're going to start with some Stampin' Blends coloring, little basic coloring with the flowers, with the lilies from the stamp set, and cut them out, and I'll share how to do this. So it's an easy and fun technique that adds a really cool dimension to your card. And then we will get into using Sponge Daubers to add a little dimension to your projects and to your to these flowers, and we'll be using the die cuts that are on their own, standalone, aside from the stamp set. And then after that, I'm going to share a whole series of ideas created with the Easter lilies. But first, welcome aboard if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay. I am happy to have you here. I'm very excited that you've joined me. As with every live video that I do, every live class that I do, I have a giveaway. Yay! Giveaways! And this one is the Confetti Birthday Card Kit. So it's an all-inclusive card kit. Great way to get started. Also great to use as gifts. And all you need to do to enter is to pop on over to my blog, and there's a link in the video's description at the top or at the bottom. You may be watching on Facebook. You may be watching on YouTube. It might be in different places, but it's a direct link that goes to this project's resource page. And there, if you leave a comment, it's free to enter. You just need to leave a comment on the blog post, and you will be entered to win. As I just mentioned, it is my Stamp It Demonstrator Group's blog hop today. And so my post is also has links to take the spring-themed blog hop, and my demonstrators that participate in this blog hop, super talented, and they have some amazing projects they've been working on just to share with you guys tonight. So in addition to all that I'm going to be sharing here on this class, afterwards, pop on over to the blog, enter to win the giveaway, take the blog hop tour, and be inspired. I hope that you have lots of ideas flowing after this. I'm going to be sharing some different techniques as well that you can use on these projects and many more. I have a free PDF on my blog for the projects that I'm creating today on that same post, so that's another reason why you want to pop on over there. And I should also mention that everything that I'm using today in this class video, you can purchase in my online store, and I'm always forever grateful when you purchase with me. Even your small purchases, every little bit helps, and it keeps me here making these classes, which I love to do. So thank you again, and thank you to all my customers, and let's get started creating the projects. So we're going to start with the card, and then we'll work into the pillow box second. So I am going to be using, this is the Easter Lilies Bundle. Beautiful, right? And so the dies cut out the flowers and leaves on the stamp set, but then there's also standalone dies that build a flower. So we'll be using both today. And I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to stamp some images in Memento black ink because we're going to be working with Stampin' Blend Markers for the first project. And you're going to want the Memento black ink for that. So I'm just going to bring in my beautiful rainbow of Stampin' Blend Markers. So pretty. And we're going to do some really basic blending techniques, a little ombre blending for the flower. And I think we can start with that. So the colors I've got here are Berry Burst, Bubble Bath, and then when we get to the leaves, I've got Granny Apple Green, and Lemon Lime Twist. The Stampin' Blend markers are alcohol markers, and they've got two tips. We've got a brush tip, and we've got a nib tip. Nib tips are for when you want a little bit more control. Brush tips for a little bit larger area. I'll be using the nib tip on most of the leaves because they're smaller images, but on the flower, I'm going to use the brush tip. Especially this one because it's a large flower. Now, there are different ways that you can blend your Stampin' Blend markers. You can start with the lightest color and work to the darkest, or you can start with the darker and work to the lighter. So today I'm starting with the darkest. What I will say is that whatever you choose to do, your colors are going, your Stampin' Blends are gonna work best if your project, if your project is wet. So as long as there's ink, your ink is wet here, they're going to blend really nicely. If the ink dries, you're going to see more of a line. And for that reason, I'm going to work in a smaller section on the flower. And that way, because the alcohol will dry quickly, that way it won't dry quite as fast as I'm working. So let me tell you what I'm doing while I'm working. I've started with the darker berry burst. There's two of each color, a dark and a light. I've started with the darker, and then I added some light to the petals. And now I've got Bubble Bath, which is a light pink, like a baby pink color. And I've got the darker of that. And I'm working my way down to the center of the flower. It's kind of giving it an ombre look. So now I'm moving into the lighter pink. And don't worry, I'm going to do it again on the other half of the flower. So you can see it some more. Now, you can see a little bit of a line here. So I'm going to go back in with the light, I think. The light berry burst, and just give that a little, because now that's wet. It's going to blend really nicely. And then I'm going to take light Bubble Bath and blend the whole thing. I'm working on our glass mat. I'm going to take the darker Bubble Bath and just work a little bit of this in. I'm working on our glass mat here. You may notice underneath. This is that mat you can get during Celebration. You can get this free. It's in the demonstrator kit. And oh my gosh, it's a game changer when you're working with Stampin' Blend markers. Having this mat below it, because the glass keeps the ink moist longer on my cardstock, because I'm just using basic white here. And it's going to keep it moist longer, so it's going to make it easier for me to blend. I don't have to work quite so quickly. It is absolutely amazing. And if you're not familiar with this, demonstrators were able to buy these before Celebration, like you could buy it. And then once Celebration started, you can get these free when you purchase the demonstrator kit. And so that promotion only runs until the end of February, which is next week. Oh my gosh, can you believe Celebration's ending? Plus, purchasing the demonstrator kit is amazing anyways, because you can get everything I'm using here in it. And you can pretty much get anything you want, and it's like $99. There's free shipping on the kit. And then you get discounts on everything you buy after that. Plus, it's like you get a choice right now. You can pick for $99. You can get $125 worth of product, so $26 free, and the glass mat, which is a $60 value. Or, and I'm going to use that light lemon lime twist to blend that entire leaf. Just hold that up there so you can see. So to blend that entire leaf. And then and I'm a lefty, so I'm sorry if I'm covering things up. I don't mean to, it just happens. I try really hard when I'm coloring to not do that, but sometimes it's hard not to. Okay, so for these leaves here, it's almost like a palm branch. Same exact thing, starting with the darker. And I'm going to work my way lighter, blending that line of demarcation in as I go. And again, work in small sections because it will dry fast. These are alcohol inks. And then we got dark granny. And then light granny. And here you can see, just hold that up there so you can see the ombre effect of the leaves and how they just pop at you. And then we'll continue on and finish the rest of those And I'm going to take those dies that coordinate with the flowers, and I'm going to cut out, I'm going to take that Stampin' die cut machine and cut out the leaves, and through the magic of video, and I love magical videos, there, we got it all done. Okay, so now we've got our pieces cut out. I've also stamped words faith over fear. So I decided to make this more of an encouraging a card for somebody who's in the hospital, maybe fighting something. But you could make it pretty much for any occasion, because this design is going to fit for any occasion. I used the charming sentiments for that, faith over fear. So you can just simply change the greeting on this and make this card design good for any occasion. The Stampin' Up! Sentiment Silhouette dies match this set. I love this. So all of these little pieces cut out all of these words. And then there's also little heart stars and birthday candles and different dies in here to use for all occasions. This is a great bundle to get for all occasions. Just, you know, to get a floral or a nature set when you're getting started, and then a word set. It's a great place to start, because then you can use words for everything, and then you've pretty much got everything covered. And then you got the dies to match to cut them out, so no fussy cutting. So I know you guys don't like to fussy cut. I do, but I hear from you guys. I hear you. I know you don't. So that does all the dirty work for you. So I've got that all ready. I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to build our trellis card, and then we'll assemble that. We'll put that to it. So for building the trellis card, I'm going to start with my card base. And again, this is all listed on that free PDF that I created for you. I make these with every project. It's got step-by-step instructions. It's got the full supply list of everything I'm using. And it's also got a QR code so you can zap right back to this video. A copy of this video is also on the page where you can download this. And I've got all kinds of information for you on everything I've glossed on today. I've got the information for you there. It is 4 inches by 8.5 inches. And then I'm going to score it at 5.5. And so basically, this is going to create the standard size card base. So it will fit into a standard envelope, a standard Stampin' Up! Medium-sized envelope. So we've got a little bit of a fun fold there. The only thing is that you'll want to be careful of, in order for it to fit in the envelope, is that you don't have any overhang. If your leaves and flowers overhang the sides of the card, you'll need either a larger envelope, or you'll need I want to use my bone folder on that and get that burnished really good. You'll need a custom envelope or a larger size, or I know sometimes you give it with a gift or whatever, but I know that's a common question. So this particular one will fit inside a standard envelope. Okay, so I've cut some strips here. I've got 2 strips that are going to be vertical, and they are 3/8 of an inch by 4.5 inches. And then I've got 4 strips that are going to be horizontal, and they're each 4.5 by 3 1/8. And I am actually going to be using these measurements and these lines on the grid of the glass mat to help me when placing these. So what I'm going to do is open this up, because I actually attached. Actually, no, I attached them on the front. So they're going to go right on the front. You could attach them to the back if you don't want to see them on the top. But I did attach them on the front. I'm just going to use regular seal adhesive. If you wanted to, glue dots work really great for this too. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of seal adhesive on the top of the vertical. I'm going to start with the vertical. Actually, I want that closed because I want to see. So I'm using these lines kind of to line it up, so they're basically the same. I do have a little bit of overhang here. I'm going to trim that after. Okay, and then I'm going to look and see what I did there for grids, and I can't see the measurements, so I don't know exactly what they are, but I'm just going to make sure I do basically the same thing on the other side. And I can see that I've got it lined up down the bottom, so I can see that they're lined up the same place, and they're pretty close. They're pretty close. And then we can trim that down. Okay, next we are going to do the horizontal strips. So the horizontal strips I kind of did, and maybe I'll move the glass mat over a little bit, because I'm going to share how I did the 1/2-inch strips. So I'm going to start from this and work my way down, because I felt like that way, if I started from the bottom and worked my way up, I might have a little bit of an issue when I get to the very top. So I'm going to, again, glue dots work really good here, because you can glue dot exactly where you want it, and unfortunately I didn't bring them. I'm going to put these every 1/2 inch. So I'm going to kind of line that up at the 1/2 inch mark. Let's put a little bit of seal adhesive on each one. The other thing about glue dots that would be preferable to this, to doing the seal that I'm doing, is the glue dots are going to stay. You're not going to have any panty lines, I call them. You're not going to have any overhang of adhesive that's going to make it stick to the card base underneath it. I don't have enough on the first one. Okay. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take all 4 of these and put the adhesive on them in the exact same place that I put the adhesive here, and have them ready to rock and roll. So that way your adhesive is lined up. I'm not going to say this again, but I really do think glue dots are the way to go for this particular project. I think you're going to find it's much easier to line up. Okay. So once again, I'm going to put this up against the side of, if you have grid paper, that would work as well too, a ruler as well. And then I'm going to line that up at a 1/2 inch mark, and it doesn't matter which one, just a 1/2 inch, just so I can see a 1/2 inch and I can see that it's straight across. Then I'm going to take the next one and I'm going to go down to the next 1/2 inch gap. Let's see here. You know what? I lied. I'm going to do 1/4 inches. I think instead of 1/2 inches. I think 1/4 inches look better. So let's try that again. Line that up on a 1/4 inch. And line you up at a 1/4 inch. And again, I'm just using the measurements on the glass mat next to me for the lining it up. And then the last one. And the last one, if I did it good, if I did it right, the last one should line up on the bottom, but I'm just going to kind of make it kind of work down there, even if it didn't. Okay. So there is a little bit of overhang. I can tell because it's sticking underneath. Again, many glue dots, you won't have that problem. So I've got a little bit here that I want to trim. There. All right. So that's a card design. That's it. That's the base. I think that's super easy to do, and especially if you have grid paper, ruler, or I'm using a glass mat here, measurements to line you up. You're going to get it lined up perfectly. You're going to have the same amount of space in your gaps. All is well with the universe. Everybody's happy, happy, happy. All right. All right. Moving on. Next, I'm going to start building the flowers. So first, I'm going to attach this one, and I want to make sure where I put the flowers on here, where I put the adhesive, it's not going to overhang. So this one, I'm just going to put adhesive on the stem, and then I'm going to make sure the stem is over this panel so that it doesn't stick through. Okay, so now I'm going to start. Let's see. Let's put this guy down next. You can do this one with seal adhesive, or you can do it with dimensionals. I'm just going to use seal adhesive for mine. Okay, so that's down. And then I'll start with this. Now I'm going to start using Stampin' Dimensionals to pop it up. And I've got a little bit more. Now that this is down, I don't have to worry about the dimensionals as much because this is it's gonna overlap that a little bit and it'll stick to that, so the dimensional shouldn't stick through. And then I'm going to take this little flower. It's going to come out of the other flower, like so. And these little guys, I just kind of put on the top. Let's do one coming up over here. And one coming up over here. What do we think? Right about there. And then some dimensionals for our words. I'm going to put them kind of in the middle. Faith over fear. Beautiful. Now we've got our little lilies climbing up the side of the card. It's beautiful. And got some butterflies here that I thought worked perfectly. And these little guys will just kind of flutter around the flowers. And kind of place those. Let's put them right there. And the card is complete. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Glad you guys love it. And now we're going to switch over to the pillow box. So let me just talk about the pillow box for a minute because I love these things. I just think they're different and they're fun. Something, you know, like unique looking than our regular, just a regular box. So I like special when things are a little special. And if you're wondering what you could put in it, okay, so they fit a good size, a fair amount of stuff in there. I made the mistake of opening this up before the video. And I think you probably all know exactly what I mean by that. Because once you open a sleeve of Thin Mints, you can't stop eating them, right? So I put some in just a little cello bag, tied it up, and I thought that would make a nice little gift there. Okay, so let me show you how I did this. First, I'm going to start with the flower. Let's build the flower, and then we can put the box together. I'm also going to upscale this box a little bit, and I'm going to share how to brayer it and give it like a nice, give it a color and give it some vintage look. I'm going to share how I did the splatter on there. But first, let's do the flower. So back to that, and for those of you who are tuning in late, you can go back to the original to check out to check out how we did the card in the beginning. You can rewind after the video. But we are going to start on the box now. These are what I'm using, and I'm now using the standalone builder dies. I love that this set has both. So we'll use those standalone builder dies, and I've cut some out of. Move them on here. I've cut some out of Granny Apple and Petal Pink. So the flower, I've got Petal Pink. I know you probably didn't expect that, but I did. It starts with Petal Pink, and then we've got a little stamen here. I think that's called a stamen. So for the stamen, I used, this is Lemon Lolly, little yellow there. I'm going to take dark daffodil. You could use regular markers for this too, and just color the very, very tips of that. Just to give the top a little special something that the bees are going to love, because you know bees love these things. There we go. So it just gives it a little bit of a pop. Now we're going to be working with Sponge Daubers and ink pads for the other part. So I'm going to just put that aside. Let's start with the leaves. I've got Berry Burst and Granny Apple Green inks. For paper, I've got Petal Pink and Lemon Lime Twist. So the ink pads are darker colors than the leaves, so that it really is going to pop. All right, so these are Sponge Daubers. I'm a big fan of these. You're going to have a lot of control over the ink as you're working. So I'm going to start with the, I did say I was going to start with the leaves, right? I'll start with the leaves because they're just small. I'm going to dip that in the ink, and then I'm going to start at the tip because I want the tip to be darker than the rest, and I'm not even going to bring it all the way down to the bottom, but wherever you start with, that's probably going to be your darkest point. So I'm spending a lot of attention on the top and then just shading some some color down so that we've got an ombre effect. And I'll do that with all 3 leaves. These are fun too. I mean, you can really work with these and make them really pop even more. Make them even more 3D than we're going to make them look, because I'm going to make them look pretty dimensional when we're done. Okay. So we'll put those aside, and the little handy dandy little cloth comes with a glass mat. I'm going to share some of the cool little features that come with it too in a second. But that does help. Okay, so now we're going to do the leaves. I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. I'm going to touch on the tips and then bring the ink down so that it's lighter as you go down, and kind of spend a little bit more attention there on the tips so that they are a lot darker, giving it an ombre effect. It gives it a really cool dimension when we bring it all together, when we put the flower together. And you could also use white cardstock to do this and color it, but I loved the effect of the pink, the petal pink underneath this. I think it gave it a little special color. So it'll look like this when we're done coloring, something similar to that. And then we'll do the same thing with these, go really dark on the top, and then just kind of bring the color down. And we'll pretend we did them all. And next, I'm going to give them, again, I wanted these to have a little 3D effect. So next, I'm going to take the bone folder and loosen up those fibers and curl the flower petals so they really have a 3D effect there. And we're going to do that with all 3 pieces of the flowers. You're also going to do it with the leaves, only the leaves I kind of curl them in instead of under. I felt the lily flower leaves, I think, look good under these. I curled over. And then through the magic of video, ta-da, we have that all done. Now we're going to work on the splatter effect. All right, I love this effect, and I haven't done it in a long time, so it was I thought it would be fun to work with. So I've got early espresso ink pad refill, and I'm going to pop some of that right in one of these handy dandy little compartments on this mat. Comes with the glass mat, part of the studio. So I'm just going to put a little of that on there, and then I'm going to take a water painter, a wet paintbrush, and just make sure it's really wet. I felt this tip works best when it's wet. And then I'm going to lay out the leaves and just there we go. Just tap it. Can you guys see okay? Let me slide them up a little bit more. So I want you to be able to see the ink and the splatter effect that it's getting when I do this. Again, I find if you find that it's not working as well, I find that the wetter you get it, the wetter the better. Kind of like when you're coloring with Stampin' Blends. And then just do that to your little heart's content, till you're happy with. I mean, I didn't go overboard with it, but I did want to, I did want it to have a little bit of a splatter effect on there to make it look like more realistic. There we go. My aim is off. All right. So you can kind of see the splatter effect it's going to get there. I want it to come up a little bit more on the leaves, but that's okay. We'll continue on. You get the idea. So now we're going to build a flower. Do you want to build a snowman? No, you don't. But you do want to build a flower, don't you? No, you don't, because it's February. We want snow season to be over. Okay. I'm just going to use seal adhesive again. The mini glue dots. Highly recommend for this project, and I wish I had brought them with me. Okay, so I've already loosened the fibers. I'm going to kind of fold this in a little bit so that we've got a little bit more dimension. There we go. And then we're going to add, so we're going to start building a flower pretty much. There we go. So we've got the pretty much a lot of it there. It's hard to see on the over the map. Oh, I want that little guy to dry. For the stamen, that's going to go in the center. I'll put this one on first. I want to dab that. Okay. There we go. And if I was feeling ambitious, I do want a little bit more splatter on there. I might go over it again and splatter it some more, but you guys get the idea. I used 2 petals down here on the bottom. I mean, a lot of the ones I've seen only have the 1 petal, and that's fine. The 1 petal's fine. But I liked the look of the 2. I'm going to wait on these. I'm going to wait on the leaves until I put it on the box. So let's put this aside and let's work on that cool box. So this is the pillow box here. This is what it looks like. They come just like this. They've got adhesive already on them. They're just super easy to put together. I've got one that I've splattered, and then I wanted to share how to color them. So this one is pre-splattered, and you can, I found that it takes minutes or more for that splatter to dry on these, so I pre-did that one ahead of time, but you would splatter it the same way that I did the others. And I'm thinking to myself, if the ink might take a little bit longer to dry too, so if that's the case, well, we may not put this one together. We'll see. I've got crumb cake ink and a Brayer. This is our new Brayer. Yeah, this sucker's cool. So I'm going to just pick up some ink on the Brayer, and we're just going to roll that over the box and continue. There were some times I felt like I wanted a little bit more color. You know, I wanted something a little bit more than white. I find that doing this, it gives it like a very vintagey look. You can see it's got a little, the color is a little bit of a, you know, variation there. And you've also got along the seams. So there's a couple things you can do if you want the whole thing colored, because with the Brayer, the seams do give you, I liked this look because I was going for a vintagey look. But if you aren't going for a vintagey look and you would like to color it with a Brayer, take a sponge dauber and go around the edges, and that way you can fill in where that white is with your ink. Similar to like we did with the petals. And I'm just rocking and rolling with this Brayer. Yay! It's cool, isn't it? I really love how it looks when it's done. other thing is this glass mat works really good with the brayer because it's flat, and I've learned my table is as flat as it appears to my naked eye. It isn't flat. So there are sometimes, like when I'm stamping a large stamp and you find that you've got like a faded spot in the middle, or it's missing a spot altogether. Yeah, that's because the table has a little bit of a gap in it. So this like totally eliminates that. I'm just going to stop here. I think that's fine. So now we've got color on here. Again, a vintagey look. I'm not sure if that's going to dry quick or not, but I'm going to share one more really cool thing. Let's do this. If I wanted this to be all solid, I would continue more. I would put layer more colors on here, but I want it to dry, and that's not the look that I'm going for. I'm going for a vintagey look. Okay. So one more cool thing that I did with this that I think you guys are going to like. I think. We'll see. You guys can tell me. I took a time-worn type embossing folder and embossed it. All right. So depending on which way. So I'm going to have these tabs go on the top when I'm done. Let me show you the finished one so you can see it. Oh, maybe not. There it is. Okay, so I left these on the top so that you didn't have to take off the ribbon when you opened it. And so the time-worn type has some type in it, and if you care that the type is going in the correct direction, then you'll want to do it this way. If you don't care because it's unreadable anyways, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the folder. I'm moving this out of the way so I can move in the die cut machine. Let's back out just a hair more. And for those of you who are new, welcome. It is so great to have you on here with us tonight or today, whenever you're watching. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like and subscribe. Tell YouTube you want to see more of these awesome classes. Because I want to do more. I'm going to have to do this twice. But you can see. It's really cool. I think it's cool. I like the look of it. It just adds a little special something, something. You are going to have to do it twice. And one side, the type is going to be upside down. It doesn't matter to me. But if it matters to you, don't know what to tell you on that. Maybe not this folder. Maybe try a different folder. And we'll just crank that back through. This is an ambi turner. This die cut machine cuts both ways. 3D embossing folder. And that's why I'm using the plate number 4. So it makes it very tight. Oh, and I've got a surprise guest in there. Look who just popped out of my... This is from my VIP club classes. I used this is the Jungle Pals. Little Tony the Tiger from the Jungle Pals. That is so funny. You know what? I was looking everywhere for him while I was filming my VIP class, and there he was, hiding inside. Oh, good times. All right. So now we've got it all embossed. It looks really cool. We've got it splattered. It's got a nice vintagey look. So you don't even have to guess where the seams are, because if you brayered it, it guides you right into those seams, right? So that's another reason why I thought it looked kind of cool, right? I like that look. Again, if you were doing a different style and didn't want a vintagey look, then you could use Sponge Dauber and color in some of that white. So I'm just pinching along the, because it's round, they got a little rounded there. I'm just pinching on the corners and pinching in where it's already scored for us and all ready for us to go. And then all we need to do is put it together. So it comes with adhesive too. So you can just peel that off. Just the adhesive wings go over the other. So there's 2 wings here. The adhesive wing goes over. That one's on top. Adhesive wing on top. And then we've got our, oh, there it is. Horrible. let's go ahead and take some. This is vanilla and black checked ribbon. I will be sharing a whole bunch more ideas that I created with these pillow boxes. Like they're gift sets. You put a little gift in there. It doesn't have to be Thin Mints, and I don't know, maybe you don't want it to be, because you know, if you're like me, once you open that box, it's all over. I was like, oh my gosh, why did I open this box? Now I can't stop eating them. Okay, let's bring that flower right back in here. I am going to, I might recommend putting it down with dimensionals or with Seal Plus with something a little bit stronger, but I'm just chugging along with my regular seal here. I'm going to put the flower on the lower corner here, so you can see the box poking. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I love it. And then I worked the leaves in after. So 2 leaves I kind of stuck together and then put them on there, and then one I kind of put by itself. But I wanted to wait because I wasn't quite sure where I wanted them to land until the flower was on the box. It kind of gave me a better idea of where I wanted to put them. And we'll put this one down the bottom. And then add some rhinestones to it or whatever embellishments you want. And you've got a gorgeous, I love it, right? Love it. Okay, so here's the white one. What do you think? White one or crumpled? White one or crumpled? Oh, that's a tough call. I like them both. All right, so as promised, and especially for those of you who jumped in late, let me just show you the card that we just made. So we just made this trellis card, so you can catch that on the rewind if you missed it at the beginning. And now let's continue on. I made a card in crumb cake to match. So there we go. I've got another crumb cake box there, so they matched. On this one, I did something a little. I took some white craft ink and sponged around the box as well to give it even more, like, because I really liked the look for this particular project, so I gave it even more. And then the flowers here done the exact same way. I colored them. The only difference is I used crumb cake paper. I stamped on the crumb cake paper and colored them for this one. And I promise you I will have tutorials for everything else in the series. So I'm sharing the rest of the series that I created now. And I want to hear from you which ones you like the best. Oops. This is stuck in the hair. I want to hear which ones you like the best out of the series, what your favorites are. So drop that comment. And I also want I want you to know that I have instructions for the trellis card all ready for you, but I will have instructions for all the rest of these coming up over the next week at stampwithtami.com, which is my blog, which is where everything lives. So don't forget, if you're not on my newsletter list, if you don't visit the blog, I post tutorials there every day. Every day. And couple of classes ago, I also used the first time I used the Easter Lilies was for this circle wreath card. So I have a video and tutorial on how to make this. I did it slightly different. I used watercolor pencils on this one. So I shared how I did that and how I made this card. So you can get that tutorial on my blog as well. Click on the link in the video's description, up or down, depending on what social media platform you are watching this on. Or just go directly to my blog, and if you're going there anytime in the February, March, early March, you should see this video on the homepage. But after that, they may go down. But if you click on the videos tab of my blog, you'll find all of my classes there. So you'll find it that way. Or you could type Easter Lilies into the search box, and they'll all pop up. So here's another one. This one I definitely felt Easter. I got Easter vibes on this one. Changing the colors up a little bit. I got Easter vibes on all of them, but I wanted to share how you could make them for different occasions. Oh, I love this one too. This is another one of my favorites. So this one uses the, I'm drawing a blank on the dies, the background die here. It's so pretty, right? And then the matching box. I made gift sets out of all of them. Of course, you could give the boxes individually. They don't have to be gift sets. And you could give the cards individually. But I made gift sets out of all of them. Slimline. And this one, I used the watercolor pencils, just like I did on the circle wreath. So I created them the same way as the circle wreath. But this one, I did this. It is actually white. I don't know if you can see that. These are actually white cardstock, and I colored them with the bubble bath ink, the pink ink, and I colored the stamen. They were white too. Beautiful white. I love it, love it, love it. Okay. All right. And one more. I have a hard time choosing a favorite, but this one might be. This one's up there. Right? So I took the hummingbird from the Thoughtful Expressions, and I planted him in my lilies, my lily garden. And I colored him with the Stampin Blends too. I even matched the background. I textured the background to match. I did the same thing here. The difference is I colored this with petal pink instead of crumb cake, and then used vanilla for the flowers. What do you think? All right, I hope you've loved them. I hope that you love the entire series. Again, I'll have tutorials for all of them coming up. I really appreciate you joining me today. Just a couple things that I don't want you to forget about. Celebration's ending next week. February 29th is the very last day to get free products with your orders. And they're special limited edition. There were new ones dropped, so if you had everything and you still want to order, there's new products in there that you might not have already. And that is also the demo kit deal. I was talking about this glass mat, or option 2, which is getting $155 for $99. You don't have to be a demonstrator. You can do this just for the discount. It is the best deal, and I can't recommend it enough. But then you also get to be a part of my Stampin' group when you join with me, which means the world to me, right? Not only do you get this amazing deal, but you get this amazing community to come along with you. And you can participate in our blog hops either by blogging, if you're a blogger or would like to become one. We have resources to help you do that, or just by taking them and all of the other challenges and fun things that my Stampin' Demonstrator group does. In fact, if you are in my Stampin' Demonstrator group, I know a bunch of you are in here. I saw you pop on. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. is our demonstrator meeting. We will see you there. For everybody else, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate being here, and I love being able to do these classes with you. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. Linda and I have a Stampin' Scoop on Monday. I will put that out there, but subscribe so you get the notifications. Subscribe on my YouTube channel, and I will look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for joining me.